You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. My name is AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you this morning. Thanks for being with us. We're going to have a really great show planned for you today. It's our last show before the holidays, and although we may have some just kind of impromptu shows depending on the day, depending on people's availability, just to kind of just have a show or two is what I was thinking this morning. And I just thought, you know, if there's something that happens in the city that's worth talking about news-wise or issue-wise, that we could then, you know, delve in and just go live and have a show during the holiday. But other than that, we won't be having regular shows. This will be our last show before a little bit of a break. All the way through this week, and then, you know, maybe January 2nd or 3rd, maybe our first show. So thanks for being with us. We're happy to be here this morning on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. You can also stream us at cklu.ca. Audio, you can download the Radio Player Canada app from there, listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, we're streaming live in video format on facebook.com/Sudbury News. And thank you so much to the people at Facebook for more recently opening up the channels to allow people to like and follow the page. We really appreciate you and all the things that you do to moderate and keep everything according to the community standards at Facebook and also YouTube. We're also on youtube.com/Sudbury News. So if you're watching on any of those platforms, make sure if you comment, we can get your comments up on the screen, and we can also do our best to verbalize them during the show so the people on the radio can hear what you are saying as you're part of this conversation, this community conversation, which is our conversation on our station, CKLU 96.7 FM. Thanks for being with us this morning. Let's get right to the show. The main part of the news today, if you haven't been outside yet, there's some white stuff on the ground and will continue to be some. So let's get into the weather. We want to get right into the show. There's lots to talk about this morning. We have Pierre in queue. We have Billy here in the studio. So they're going to be part of the conversation today. And so are you. So we'll be right back after this. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca, which lands on our Sudbury .news Facebook page. And we are currently at -3 degrees. It feels like -10. Humidity, 95%. There is an Environment Canada weather warning for Sudbury and area. As you should know by now, most of North America, if not all of North America, is under advisory of some kind with extreme weather in some shape or form. It's unprecedented, once in a generation event, they say. So hazards, total snowfall amounts between 25 and 40 centimeters by Saturday morning. Snow squalls possible Saturday into Monday for Sault Ste. Marie area. So if you're traveling towards there, that's what they're going to be expecting. Timing continue into Saturday. Snow squalls partially lasting until Monday. So this is a weekend thing. Snow heavy at times will continue today. The snow is forecast to taper off on Saturday. Strong northwesterly winds may then generate snow squalls again for Sault Ste. Marie area. I don't know about here, but currently we have about, I don't know, it looks like 5 centimeters already accumulated out there if I go by just by my eye. But we're already getting some of the white stuff. So here's the thing. They say consider postponing non-essential travel conditions And for the third Christmas in a row, don't spend Christmas with your family, I think is what they're saying here. And it's not due to the pandemic this time. It's just due to an unprecedented, once in a generation, North America-wide weather happening. So you know what to do. It's winter, and we've lived in winter our whole lives if you're from up here. And if you're not, welcome to Sudbury. Today, snow amount of 10 centimeters, wind northeast 20 kilometers, temperature already steady near zero, and the wind chill will feel like -9 this morning. Tonight, periods of snow, amount of 2 to 4 centimeters, wind northwest 20 kilometers, gusting to 40, low of -8, wind chill -7 this evening, and -16 overnight. Saturday, periods of light snow and local blowing snow, ending in the afternoon, then cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries. And temperature will stay steady near -6, wind chill near -7. And then your 7-day, Sunday, Christmas Day, looking like -12 and a mix of sun and cloud. So it looks like for us, anyways, it should be a clear enough day. Maybe you'll get some blowing snow, but other than that, a mix of sun and cloud. Monday, mix of sun and cloud, -11. Same thing for Tuesday, and then 60% chance of flurries on Wednesday here in the city. And then after that, we just don't know what's going to happen. And you look at your satellite view over northern Ontario. If you're on the radio, it's exactly what you would expect with a northern Ontario-wide weather alert for this winter for a lot of snow. So there's a lot of cloud and a lot of snow activity throughout the north. Your Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. All things weather on our All Things News website, sudbury.news. We'll be back with Pierre and Billy right here in the studio right after this. Good morning. We have Billy here in studio. We have Pierre in his remote location in his secret bunker somewhere in northern Ontario. Just kidding. He's at home in his office. So Pierre, let's start with you. You just came through a little bit of a medical procedure and whatever, and we're all wishing you the best. How are you feeling after that?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay. Go ahead. I thought you were muted, but you're not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I had kidney surgery, so to remove some kidney stones. So it was a pretty amazing procedure. They went in with sort of a imagine this made out of stainless steel. So they jab it inside of you, and then in goes a laser with a camera, and the surgeon is looking into it in a scope. And they laser zap. The kidney stone was about this big, and which is very huge.
Ouch.
And they zap it, and then they vacuum it out. So right back here. So imagine the pain. Yeah. And then there was a stent involved, which I don't really need to get into. And so it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced, but it's gone now. So I'm in week 2 of recovery. So
so I would have thought 4 weeks.
Yeah, until like the tissue heals. So I can't
So
really do the extra.
Sorry, it's just there's a little bit of delay when I talk, and then you're muted for a second after. So I'm going to have to be very cognizant of that in our conversation. However, I would have expected that it would have been painful up until the operation. That's why you got the operation, right? And now the operation itself was painful. So can you expect like total, like just to be out of pain now after this 4 weeks?
Apparently so. I had pain for the entire duration of COVID, so I couldn't have this done. So that was kind of a problem. There was already a delay. I was already waiting about a year before COVID just to see this surgeon in Toronto. There's only one place in Canada that does this operation. That's why it took so long. It's the urology department at St. Mike's Hospital, and finally got an appointment, and then they canceled it because of COVID. And so the care I got was amazing, but But the flaw with our medical system is wait times, obviously. But,
Yeah,
but I
that's a huge issue. Yeah.
yeah.
So I know that place. I've been there before, and what a beautiful place that is. It's almost like if you pictured every hospital being like that, or every place where we receive medical attention to be an environment like that. That is exactly what you would hope that people would experience in the atmosphere, the way you're treated. Everything is so cool there. I think they could take a page from that place for our medical system in general.
Did you say that was the only place in Canada that does that?
I believe, yeah. It's I had the best. Apparently, I had the number one urology surgeon. She actually she's a brilliant woman, a young woman, and she's also a mechanical engineer and a surgeon. So she designs medical devices. So pretty cool, yeah. And I felt like I was in. And that place, I'm pretty sure, it's definitely the only place in Ontario. There might be something else in Vancouver or whatever, but I know that it was like I was in the premier spot for on the floor I was on. It was all kidney patients, 8th floor. And
Wow.
I wonder if they have plans to expand that outwards.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be nice, but I don't think there are plans to do that. But it would be nice.
It's interesting. Like you don't think you always hear how important medical care is and all of that, and there's a lot of flaws there. And the American system. Like if I had $84,000, I could have gone to the States and had this done in a weekend, and it would have 3 years ago, right? Or if I had like an amazing insurance policy. So, medical, the private system, the care is good if you can afford it, right? So that was in Canada. We are very limited in terms of certain sort of specialists and stuff like that. Like my cousin is a cardiologist, and he lived in Texas for years and years, and now he's in a hospital. I won't say where, but he's in a very good hospital in Southern Ontario. And the machine that he operates to basically clean out your arteries. I think he said we've got a couple of them in Canada, and he said in Texas alone there are more of them just in private clinics. Like you can just drive into a mall.
I don't want
and drop your credit card, and he said, whereas in Canada it's just, he said, we just don't have them. We just don't spend the money the way they do, right? Because
it's true.
The ultra rich or the wealthy in the U.S. They don't even blink at spending $500,000 on a procedure, right? Whereas with us, it's just unheard of. So,
I wonder what is the cost in Canada? Like, what do you figure? Because they do have like a chargeback system, right? Or there's like a billing system that the government ultimately does pay for it. Is there cost?
Yeah, I'm wondering, like what it would cost us as taxpayers, like, because there is a dollar amount, and I know, like, I gave blood in the States, and I got $75 American to give, either it was blood or plasma or something, and here I got juice and a cookie, even though that blood was still sold on the market as a commodity. Here in Canada, it has a price attached to it. In the States, it's transparent because they pay you. Well, now they would have got way more than $75 they paid me for that blood. So if they were paying me $75, I imagine how much my blood was actually worth, Yeah,
I definitely didn't get a bill. I did some research to find. I was curious to know because I was in there Friday to Monday. I was, and that was considered a long time just because I had some complications with the stent. Normally, I would have gone in Friday morning and gone out like probably Saturday or Sunday afternoon. So I was there till actually Tuesday. I checked out. So that the cost of that, I don't know what it is per day in a hospital, but it's a lot, right? It's like $10,000 a day to be in a hospital. But like in the U.S., you get the bill, right, where you get.
You see, it's transparent, right? Because you see what each procedure costs, and then it's like your cable bill. Well, if you subscribe to some premier channels or whatever, premium channels, and if you have the extra Wi-Fi and you have this, the hospital bill is the exact same. If you had, TV, whatever, it's going to charge you exactly what every procedure was. every needle they gave you, every meal possibly. It's all out in the open. Whereas in Canada, it's kind of behind this kind of curtain kind of thing, and you go in with your health card and you swipe it, but that's kind of like a medical debit card in a way, or a credit card. You swipe it and there's a cost attached to it. The doctors are billing us, or the government, for their services, right? We just don't know the amounts.
No, that's tricky. And and I know, like, I have a really close friend who's a doctor, and he's a specialist. He's got a couple of different things that he does, and he's always, and I helped him way back with a database. I built his database just for his practice, and I got to see, and he goes way above and beyond what he can actually bill, just because he cares about the patients. But he said, I have to phone. I have to. He almost does house calls sometimes. He really cares, but he said you just can't do the care that is expected for, like, whatever it is, $48 or something, like, for a basic. And that's why they're so in a hurry when you're in a doctor's office, because it's not like they're not even doctors aren't all rich the way people think. They run a business, and they're really penalized for actually, they can't decide their own prices and stuff like that. So it's a real.
Well, business in general, I think that's a microcosm of business in general in Canada. When I was, in business, I had like a couple at the same time. It feels, and I felt like this back then, and I know more now why it is. It feels like you're punished to be in business in Canada, that you're not supported, and you're not, unless you hit the lottery with some huge grant that the government has, and you go through all the programs, and then there's total strings attached to those grants too, and you're not allowed to just go out and do your thing. But Miles kind of comments here. He says our American friends tell us what it costs when they go, because they don't have OHIP or whatever when they're here, right? So it's true. I just never asked them. I don't know, but I do have American friends. I probably could ask. And at this time, I just want to get the. Got a lot of our viewers here saying good morning. So Monique, good morning. Good morning, Stacy. Thanks for being with us, guys. We really appreciate you. Good, beautiful winter morning. Jerome, yes, to all. Yes, once in a generation storm. My foot, he says, I call BS. Okay. Good morning, David. Thanks for being with us. Yes, Merry Christmas. And he says, so Jerome says, the star forward line on the Sudbury News team today. Okay, we really appreciate that as well. So Billy, should we get into some of the news items for today, and then a little bit of a deep dive? What do you think?
Sure. I think it's going to be a theme today.
I think there usually is. It kind of makes itself, which is rather odd in my view. There's always some kind of theme. Yeah.
Although right at the top, we got a Northern Ontario crossing guard has been recognized as one of the 3 of the most favorite crossing guards across Canada. So this is not really in the theme, but that's
it's still cool. I like that.
Yeah. How did that? Is there some kind of crossing guard organization? I guess I have
a video for that, and I didn't get it ready to go because I just didn't, but I will now. So as you're going through it, I'll cue up the video.
Okay, I'll just go to the next headline here. Let's see. Living Nativity is at Science North once again. I think that was mentioned before.
It was mentioned, but they did another story on it. And I just think that's cool to have a living nativity. So you have real people around a real baby with real animals, and you kind of get a sense, rather than, you see some of those ones, they're just kind of statues with lights on them. And that's fine. And a lot of communities have that, but how cool is a living nativity?
Yeah.
Have you ever been, Pierre, to one?
No, but I may check that out. Bring my grandnephews there and check it out.
Just the animals alone for kids are really spectacular. You just see a donkey and some goats and sheep and whatever. It's really cool, And then just to experience what it may have been like, in real time, is kind of neat. It's at Science North. It's put on by All Nations Church. So I think it's something very family friendly, obviously. And we're always looking for something to do around this time of year, as well as people hopefully have already traveled here. If you have family and friends and they're already here, there's some place to go as a family.
Very cool.
Yeah, and according to new statistics, 50 claims of a serious and permanent injury connected to vaccine authorized by Health Canada have been approved for compensation by Canada's Vaccine Injury Support Program, which has approved or paid out $2.7 million in total since 2021.
So a little bit of our deep dive today can be that.
I imagine that one's going to get some coverage. And then there was an update, which when I clicked on was a video. So again, that's a bit of a surprise.
What was that from for an update? For which story?
The murder victims, manslaughter, and snowmobile crash.
Oh, okay.
So it's a tough trio.
Yeah, that's true. I did share that we might as well just kind of let's start with that one, because that is basically, I'll have to get that video queued up too. Unfortunately. Here we go.
It's a short list today.
Yeah, so there was 3 things, kind of happening in the city, which were we'll just check in with the video here, and then we'll be right back. This is just a summary, Pierre, if you've been kind of out of the loop of what's been kind of going on. There's some dark things been going on this past little bit we've been covering. So here's Tony Rima with a little update.
Murder in Sudbury on Tuesday at a hotel. We have an update regarding that double murder in Sudbury on Tuesday at a hotel in the south end of the city. Greater Sudbury police have released the ages of the 2 male victims in the fatal shooting at the Travelodge Hotel. A 38-year-old man and a 27-year-old, both from Sudbury. Police add that the investigation is still ongoing. And police have charged 2 men, including a Greater Sudbury man, with manslaughter after a 48-year-old man died from a drug overdose August 17th. They arrested a Waterloo man a week ago and also charged him with drug trafficking, while a 30-year-old Sudbury man was picked up by police last Saturday on Keith Avenue in Chelmsford. A 47-year-old man is dead after a snowmobile crash yesterday north of the Greater Sudbury community of Hanmer. A female passenger suffered minor injuries. No names are being released.
So there you have that. So there was a shooting at the Travelodge Hotel. I don't know if you had a chance to hear about that or not. So it was like 3 days ago. And there was 2 people on the scene that they charged, but it wasn't related to the murders. And then there was one that might have been, and they all had charges related to firearms and things like that on them. So I'm waiting to hear back. I haven't heard anything back if there's been more arrests, or they know they released the ages of the people that were deceased, but not the names as far as I know. And then there was a 47-year-old man who died from a snowmobile accident. I believe that was 2 days ago. A man and a woman were on a snowmobile and got in an accident, and then the man was later pronounced deceased at the hospital, and the woman had more minor injuries. And then there was a man who was missing for about a day. I think it was Mark Giambattista, and he unfortunately was found deceased in his truck in the south end. So a lot of this going on was kind of dark. It was a dark show yesterday for me. And then our deep dive was medical assistance in death. And so it seemed to be very kind of heavy. And I even gave a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. I said, if these types of discussions around this subject are sensitive to you, which they are for many people, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So anyways, that's kind of like the way it's been in Sudbury for the last little bit. Some kind of sadder, items in the news.
Well, 2 guys in a hotel and a shooting. I mean, it's, you can kind of guess what's going on.
That's what I said too. I would guess it's drug related ish. I would think firearms involved.
Yeah, and apparently they found quite the cache of money and weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I confusing the stories right now? Wait now, which one of the stories they found like 200,000 in cash. That's the drug story, the overdose story. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That happened in August.
Yeah. They did a search down south in Waterloo or somewhere down south, and they found, the place was full of weapons and cash. So that was clearly, just a drug dealer's home base.
Yeah.
But I mean, just say no, kids. Don't do drugs. You'll get shot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's very dangerous to be in on that for sure.
Yeah.
Miles is just commenting about the medical costs again. He thinks one of the people that we jointly know together were charged $15,000 for a short stay at HSN. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe it. Yeah. A Canadian or an American? Like someone
Canadian,
visiting?
probably. That would be in Canadian dollars.
I mean, there must be some, like visible amount, like the yearly budget or something that can be looked at to determine,
Yeah.
some kind of auditor general. Has that been looked into? I remember hearing this like years ago, and it's just one of those things that kind of stuck with me. Don't know if it's true, but basically it's about $5,000 per person per year is what the government spends. Now that seems pretty crazy high, but I wonder what the actual math is like, and that would be the question, I guess, the argument for the private sector is like, if you were allotted or, the government spent so much on your behalf, would you be better off with private insurance and, let the two sides have their arguments, go at it then kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And as a follow-up, I guess it's a good time now. As a follow-up to our deep dive yesterday, we talked about medical assistance in death being part of our medical system now, where there was a story about a Sudbury doctor that basically said, we're at a crisis situation now for our long-term care homes where they're putting mentally ill patients, schizophrenia and other types of mental illness into long-term care homes, and they're not set up to deal with those types of conditions. And they don't have the staff, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the rooms, but yet they're getting them out of the hospitals and putting them into long-term care facilities. Yeah. And the doctor's like, you can't be doing that. It's just not going to work. And so it was followed up with a deep dive on medical assistance in death. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can kind of see the end of this. Everyone's going to get overwhelmed. They're going to be right to their wits end with everything. And they're going to I need a solution. We need a solution now. We need something to be done because and then we're like, well, here's the solution. It's going to drive everyone to the point where you're now open to the idea because the system is pushed so far beyond its, limits that everyone's kind of open to that. They're like, well, you know what? They're suffering anyways, and there was reports where it said, we read yesterday that the report said it's actually a strain. These people are a strain on our economy, and it's actually there's a net value, financial value of this made on our medical system. It's actually going to save us money, and this is an official report that they're going on.
Are you referring to the Manitoba report? I just found it here.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So it's from 2017. Across Canada, Journal calculates up to 136 million in savings if we promote medically assisted dying. There you go. Let me post it.
Sorry, wrong sound.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
That was harsh.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that wasn't meant to be. Sorry about that. But I guess it's somewhat on script.
Now this
down a really dark
been,
road, yeah.
There have been a lot of stories in the last maybe month or maybe 2 months. There's a couple that's stick in my mind. So you're probably already familiar with these. There was a Afghanistan military vet, and he had PTSD, and he was in his 40s. Wasn't an old guy, wasn't sick really, and he had extreme, a lot of mental health issues from like PTSD, right? So that messes you up. and one of the options given to him was assisted suicide.
Yeah.
So you're depressed and have anxiety. Would you consider killing yourself? So that was one. The other one was there was a woman with some kind of really terrible mobility issues. So her mental health was fine, but she was heavy, and she was living in an apartment. She had to move. There was all these complications in her life, and she was living on disability. So she basically couldn't afford rent in Toronto or wherever she was living down south. So that was one of the options given to her. And the third one, what was the third one now? A man who had a lot of illnesses, but no mental health issues, but physical illnesses. And again, he couldn't afford his cost of living. So those are now considered options by, I don't know if it's social workers handing these out, or I don't know who it is, therapists, whatever it is, and they give them this package of information.
Well, there was the person that's over, Minister of Veterans Affairs or something, admitting in front of the House of Commons committee that there was an employee at Veterans Affairs who was actually encouraging veterans because of PTSD to take this road, and up to 5 people did it, and this particular person over this admitted it in front of House of Commons that was not appropriate, and they have an investigation into it later, saying that was misinformation, that he said that, and that even happened. So we watched it yesterday where he was apologizing, but then later recanted his statement and said it was just misinformation, kind of thing. Now Karen says it's not politically correct, but to bring back, more of the mental institutions, what if my loved one was hurt at a long-term care place, she'd be suing. And then Jerome is saying integrated medicine. And I just want to give a shout out to Diane, who's saying happy Friday, everyone, it is a happy Friday. Not a happy subject in some ways, but speaking of the subject and speaking of happy, there's someone that I really like, and it's his name is JP Sears. He's able to take very complicated social issues and put them into very kind of comedic scenarios, and he does all of this himself. And here he is. He's American, but he's kind of role playing in a kind of comedic sense to kind of unpack the whole medical assistance in dying, issue. So we're gonna have a look at that, and we'll be right back after this. Get your guys' view on this.
What? I don't want to commit suicide. What? I don't want to commit suicide. You won't have to. We'll assist you. Why would I possibly want to do that? Because of your ankle. I thought you said it was hurting. Yeah, but I came in here with a sprained ankle, and you're trying to talk me into dying? Dying therapeutically. I have a minor problem, and you're trying to inflict the biggest problem imaginable on me as a solution? Why can't I just have surgery for it? Surgery is very expensive on the healthcare system, so it turns out that just offing patients is a more cost-effective approach. But we have socialized healthcare, which means I've paid enormous amounts of taxes into the system, and somehow the system can't afford to pay for simple care for me? Yeah, we definitely thought socialism in healthcare would work. It's weird how it's not, though. So the government would rather put me to death instead of paying for healthcare with my own taxes that I've paid in? Now you get it. So you're telling me my own government would rather have me killed than spend any money on me? The realities of socialism oddly turn out the way they always have. But for the good of the whole, of course. This seems criminal. Will Tuesday the 7th work for you? For what? Your assisted suicide treatment? No! How about Wednesday the 8th? I'm not gonna do it. Come on. No. But we've got quotas to fill. Wait a minute. As a doctor, I thought you took an oath to save lives and to do no harm. Well, yeah. But you know how this is kind of the opposite of that? Yeah. So that kind of makes it the same thing. Just two sides of the same coin. That is psychotic. So will Thursday the 9th work for you? Okay. Great. Just sign here. Let me help you with that. So, you're sure that me dying is in my best interest? I'm a doctor. Trust me. Okay. I trust you. Fantastic!
Okay, there's a little kind of comedic look at. There's a little sound in the background. Do you hear
I
that?
hear
at all?
some ticking.
Some ticking. Oh, Pierre's gone.
Okay.
Pierre, oh no! I hope that wasn't a bomb or something. He's gone. Okay, hopefully he comes back. Let's just get this other screen in here then. Let's go. Okay, no, it didn't work right away. Anyways, so what do you think of that video? Did he sum that up at all, Billy, in your mind? Did he?
Yeah, I think he summed the arguments up pretty good. I mean, does everyone agree that it's kind of like a dangerous precedent? I think that argument's kind of already made. I guess the question is whether or not it's something we need to be. Obviously, for the sake of satire, that was the case. But you know, it's already. And I mentioned before that I did have a friend that partook in that a couple of years back, and it was pretty shocking how easy it was, and he didn't seem to have any serious health problems. It was kind of like Pierre's sort of second scenario there, whereas losing mobility, a big daunting life change of having to move, and then a couple of doctors signed off on it, and he made his appointment, and so it was pretty easy, and it seems like society should kind of try harder. But again, I think in the back of my mind too, that's part of the problem is, where we externalize, we always want the government to take care of problems, where we want somebody in charge to take care of the problems. And it seems like, the universe kind of corrals us to like, no, you gotta do this for yourself. Like, you're going to have to, find the solution, do some caretaking. So
Yeah. But I do see our healthcare system, though it's getting to it is a crisis. It's a train wreck, and that's not just my opinion. All the news stories that are out lately are not just Sudbury either, all over the country and maybe even more of the world, but mostly Canada. Our healthcare system is broken, and many people will agree with that. Like, we can't even get linen in our hospital here because we've outsourced it to Hamilton, and we've talked about people not even be able to get clean, warm bedding, clean sheets, pillowcases. Just to let everyone know, our video did go off, and that was unfortunately my doing. Pierre's computer was rebooting, and he messaged me on what we use for our switcher. And I clicked on it, and it clicked off the feed. So I apologize for that, everybody. And all of your comments were really good too, coming up to that, but I lost them on the screen due to that. Oh, and they're back now. So anyways, so many good comments from all of you here. I know Stacy's saying she has loved ones with mental issues, and they're not violent, which a lot are not. Most are not. And I would hate to see them locked up with other violent people, right? Mental health lives matter too. That is very true. Jerome says, we had citizens here in Sudbury ending their lives due to financial inadequacy. WTF, for sure. Financial reasons. That we've heard that a lot, right, Billy? Mm-hmm. Like you look, I've been in a situation one time where I actually, for the first time in my life, contemplated that was a possibility for me to actually, I'd be better off not here for my family and things because of my financial situation. I was in business, and unfortunately, there's unforeseen circumstances, and there was a lot of money lost, and I almost didn't see a way out of it. And I could see at that moment, if I was to see a doctor in that vulnerable position of thinking, wow, like this could be. Now imagine if even insurance companies offered incentives. If you did that, we will give your family, so much money and as insurance, as if you died of natural causes. I don't even know if that would be possible or not. That would be scary too. That would be something to look into. Because it seems like they're looking at the healthcare system in general. Well, if you're gone from us, giving your family $100,000 or something would save us money in the long run. Like that could be that's dangerous thinking. That's just dangerous of even going down that road. But I can see that happening. I didn't even think we'd be in this position to have this conversation we're having right now.
Yeah. Do you remember Logan's Run?
Yes.
That's kind of the concept, eh? It's like when you hit a certain age, it's time for you to go, and then I think some people try to make a run for it.
Brave New World too,
Sanctuary.
I think, touches on that. Yeah, Sanctuary. Yeah, I've watched that movie a few times, and even though it's 60s or whatever, it's kind of cheesy in some ways, but the concept itself, it had me watching it because I was like, okay, I can see what they're saying here, and there are some elements of our society that they're showing. It's really deep. But Brave New World as well. You reach a certain age, and your duty to society, because you're going to be a strain on society, is to just give your life up at a certain age. And they take you into a beautiful room, and you lie on a comfortable bed, and you can watch your favorite movie or your favorite scenery, have your last favorite meal. And it's like, and society's applauding you. So it's almost like a social justice thing of, look at me, I'm doing the right thing. And I thought this morning too, or it was last night with my daughter, can you imagine if even it became a hero type thing? And on the way, the way our young generation is very influenced on social media, and you have little Jane here who's really popular on social media, and she's telling her story, and she's like being applauded for going down this medical assistance and death thing, and she becomes this hero to so many of the other young people. And then they're all like, wow, she's a hero. And even if this is their last attempt to be a hero to everybody on social media, to take this step, I thought, whoa, this is blowing my mind that could even be an option, But I do see it with the climate of our social media society now, and the way we become very digitized, and we kind of live in that virtual world where we're looking for these accolades all the time, and this would be terrible. Go ahead, Pierre. Oh, no sound. Hang on. You don't have sound at the moment. I'm not sure why. No, you're unmuted on this end. Oh, we'll just wait for you. Just keep working on it, Pierre. When you're done, when it's there, it's there. You had something to say, Billy?
No, I was just gonna say, try rejoining. That's my.
That's your fail-safe method of coming on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So much in the deep dive here to keep on top of. There's so many comments. Let's get to some of the comments while Pierre's working on his mic there. Stacy also said there must be a better way to determine who can reside in similar environments. That is true. Some doctors are good, some not so much. That is true. Diane says her mom is in a wheelchair, was hit by an Alzheimer's person in the home, transferred him to a lower level, probably gave meds, and my mom passed away 1 month later. That's very sad, Diane, to hear that. So many things go on in long-term health care places, and bless the hearts of those that give their time and that they're in that field. They get a bad rap of us constantly talking about how bad they are, and I think they might feel it's a reflection on them personally, and I think Billy could really agree with me. He's even more in touch with this topic than I am. But there's people who work really hard in the healthcare system, but they're totally understaffed and I think underfunded. And I just think it's a broken part of our health. It's a part of our healthcare system too. It it speaks to the brokenness of it.
Yeah. They have a really impossible task. Like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of understaffing, it's pretty unbelievable till you see it. And but yeah, they really do try, and they do an awesome job for what they do. But I think one side of the hopeful silver lining of this, that kind of analogy where there's all these people in the river, and the people plucking out of the river, and they just kind of get used to that. And then this guy comes along and says, "Hey, should we go up the river and see why all these people are in the river?" And and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think the whole medical system, government system kind of has, been so, money has influenced it in such a negative way that the incentives, that actual health has sort of fallen down in priority, and I think there's going to be changes coming, because I think that's when you really start to notice the problems, is when they get big enough to be noticed, and then once you notice them, you can rectify them. So
for sure,
I think there is a brighter future coming in this.
I hope so. Now, Stacy says that she thinks there is a reason to be concerned. A nurse here informed her mother that another dialysis patient did the dignified thing and ended her life. Her mom is in dialysis and she's a patient, and it plays on her mind from time to time. Right? So this is what's happening even locally. We've heard of a couple different situations here from just our viewers of personal experiences. And Billy said also he had an experience with a friend too that unfortunately went down this road as well. To be fair, you should maybe visit a long-term healthcare place and then say, I sure would like to live my last days like that before running down medical assistance and dying. Ooh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, that's what I think. I think our medical system is pushing us to the point of actually thinking this is a valid thing to do. Like, I'd rather do that than go through all the suffering in a long-term healthcare place. Like, that's really, and you're thinking that's a valid option. So Pierre, your mic's working again, I think.
I think so.
All right.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I had a little computer crash there.
Fine.
Yeah, a lot of this points to, there's been since the 1920s, I guess it is, a lot of research in think tanks, sort of social engineering research, and those science fiction films we were talking about, those were all, even though they were science fiction, they were also rooted in, there's these institutes, sort of the Royal, I think it's called the Royal Institute in the UK, the Tavistock Institute. I don't know if most people don't even know who they are. The Tavistock Institute is a very, very well-funded private organization, and essentially I'll pull up their website. They talk about sort of human dynamic advancement, like very vague, weird stuff. But then you look at their projects, and essentially it's social engineering it's essentially replacing all functions of the family by the state, and then controlled by corporate entities, right? So it's essentially very, very sort of friendly fascism, where it's a way to very gradually pull kids out of the two current issues with kids, like that cartoon book with the assisted suicide. It's kind of softening it all, right? It's like making kids comfortable with this. And then, so eventually, you mentioned earlier the hero, the idea of like, oh, you're a hero for going through with this. So currently, we're seeing it right now with the big push for trans kids to go on hormones early, right? And we can see where that's going to go. Like, you're sterilizing your 13-year-old daughter and removing her breast. This idea, and it's praised. It's praised by parents, and it's praised by school boards. So the idea is essentially to remove any influence at all that parents can have over their kids, whether it's religion, whether it's morality, whether it's healthcare now. So what's next? It's going to be mental health, then it's going to be finances. So really, that's the idea. But it's a very, very strategic. It's a plan. Like, it's not a conspiracy. If you read the white papers that they put out, I'll send you guys the. I remember one time I posted something. I posted one of these on Facebook way back, and it actually I got blocked, or what do you call it?
Shadow banned and suspended. Yes. Okay.
Very odd. Yeah. Anyway, so
but basically that just sounds like a strategic plan to bring to pass the underlying goals, which comes right out in Karl Marx Communist Manifesto, to get rid of the nuclear family in society and replace it with the state. Really, that's just a game plan of how to do that.
Well, Right, because there's three sort of approaches to in the sort of the political compass, the three foundations, the three of society. So there's the family, which has been mostly for thousands of years, well, hundreds of thousands of years. But then in the modern world, it's been either the community, the collective, or the individual. And right now, so it's like those two are pulling. Are in tension, but both of and people generally jump on one bandwagon or the other, but we're forgetting that the true core foundation of all civilization is the family unit, and we only had the individual from the Enlightenment, and what that's done is it's separating you from all, it isolates you, and then, but there's a lot of like really deep writing about this, like the Frankfurt School and, well, Communist Manifesto, obviously, where they see the family as the biggest threat to progress, to advancement, right? And the only way you separate that is by getting the kids. So now we're seeing it with 6-year-olds in schools, where you see these creepy teachers talking to kids about dildos and things. Like, no. But that's the way it's going. And this is a 100-year plan. This is not an accident. This is not like just some random thing. This is a plan that was devised in Europe in the 1920s, in England and in Austria, and it's in place.
It's attack on the family, on morality, on everything that's basically good, and replacing it with the state, and just listen to everything the state tells you, and to be totally controlled, and really. That's your God, I guess. It's replacing God with the state.
But yeah, and it's for the advancement. It's for the greater good. It's for the advancement of human civilization on the planet. Mm-hmm. I'll give you the Tavistock Institute. This is the one I went down this rabbit hole about 5 years ago, and I could not believe. So you start reading it, and it sounds very innocuous. Understanding changes in the human dynamics, disciplines weaving the arts into our social sciences. Networks of design, feminist co-production, energy, creative collaboration, and well-being. Celebrating the Women and Girls Initiative.
So you start seeing some of these big movements that we celebrated over time. You start seeing them as not being celebrated, but being kind of, society was coerced to go along with these nefarious type purposes that were planned by these type of people, right? Like the women's liberation movement, we look at that as great, and there are good things about it. However, this was part of their plan to break up the family, to make sure mom's going into work, not spending time with her kids. Now, today, we need 2-income families in order to actually just pay bills. How does that help the children at home? It's things like that. That's just one little example, but
yeah.
And I'm not against that at all whatsoever. I think women and men are equal. I think all people are equal. I think everyone is equal under God, period. And we all have the same rights, and no one has more rights than another person, just don't, including the state. And I think that's what they want to get rid of. The idea that you have any rights and that you worship anyone other than the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and it's pretty much ingrained in our culture now. I mean, as you know, of course, we have working moms and stuff. So just when I watch in my family, just daycare, and it's like, okay, you're working, you're making $48,000 a year. You're spending $20,000 to have a stranger take care of your child for the most important first 5 years of your life, of the kid's life. It's like, is that really, like, did you do a cost benefit analysis there? Like you're in a cubicle, filling out paperwork, and it's so that you can pay someone to take care of your kid, and then you're looking at, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's true. We had so many comments here going on. I wasn't able to kind of keep up with them. They're so good. Our viewers are like the best in the world. Like they're just, one day we're going to just get them all on a big Brady Bunch camera here, and we're all going to have a big conversation, because it's just so cool. They're so informed. Yeah, I think we should do that at some point.
Do a monthly round robin with all of your fans on here.
Yeah, a monthly get-together kind of thing online on the show and just have a huge, big conversation. Because we go down some really big, topics here, not just local, but they do affect us locally. That was my thinking. I was like, sometimes these big topics come up and I'm like, what does that have to do with Sudbury News? I'm like, well, they affect us every single day. Who doesn't get affected by going to the hospital? Who doesn't have a loved one in a long-term care facility? And it affects us locally as well. And there was a story here on vaccine injuries I thought was going to be our deep dive, but I would encourage everybody, and especially those that are, denying that that this type of thing occurs, to just read the CTV, which is a very one-sided news source. It actually shows you a lot of there is, when you watch those pharmaceutical company commercials on TV, and they go on and on, could cause this, could cause that, could cause this, but yet we've rolled out this very, quick solution to the pandemic in the form of a pharmaceutical, drug, and there's no side effects to it. Like, just this doesn't have side effects. We can't carry the common cold over generations, but yet this new thing come out and we have a cure for it right away within a few months. Like it doesn't even, so there's not going to be any downsides to it. So I just encourage anyone who's kind of pro that side, who thinks nothing bad could happen, just to kind of look at some of the statistics. And it says that 10,000 people that are injured for every there's roughly one report serious reaction for every, so there's, the correct rate is 10,000 per doses. So 10,000 people.
Well, that mindset injured. Though, that 1 in 10,000 is nothing for them, right? So
no.
Yeah,
but it's per doses.
One death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic. So that's the mindset. Is it? 1 out of 10,000 is nothing. Is considered nothing for them. That's they did the cost benefit. So they're like, we can pay $1 million.
Yep.
So
again, I just apologize for ending the show with bringing that up, even because it's not doing it. It's due. So I'm going to get Billy the last word just because he's been sitting there. And then we got to wrap things up because we're already kind of past time.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Those numbers might be questionable. It's, first of all, if you find a doctor, you have to find a doctor that's going to agree that you were indeed harmed by that. And that might be a challenge. That was, again, a challenge for a friend of the family that had a situation where the doctor said, sorry, I can't go to bat for you. I might lose my license. So.
Yeah. So there's a huge issue. Maybe we'll do a special holiday deep dive into this topic, which we weren't able to do. A holiday deep dive.
What a happy topic.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Anyways, well, thanks for being with us today, Pierre. I'm glad you're feeling better and your operation was a success. I hope that everything continues to be that way for you. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, boys.
Yep.
Viewers.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Nice to see you doing well.
We'll be back same time, same place, January 3rd. Other than that, we may come on from time to time and have a little chit chat with y'all. So have a very Merry Christmas and stay safe and drive safe if you're out there. Do everything you can to deal with the weather. We'll be back in the new year for sure, but maybe even before there. Have a great day, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.